Hi, it's Tara Green, and I'm going to talk about the Leo new moon, August the 8th, 2021. So, all new moons are times to set new intentions. The sun and the moon are together at 16 plus degrees of Leo. That's the 8th sign, so often this is called 888. So, again, we can see the sun and the moon are conjunct Mercury. So, that means that our thinking, our consciousness are directly tied to the element of fire, which is Leo, which is action, which is passion, which is spirit, which is enlightenment. Leo is the sign of the heart. So we're very tied into our hearts, our heart consciousness, to open our hearts, the four gated hearts, the four chambers of the heart. Okay, so we want to open up the heart chakra. Leo is the sign of willpower, so that's the third chakra as well. So we're dealing with the third and the fourth chakras here. The sign of will, the sign of the child, the sign of creative self-expression, willpower, giving love. So it is a new moon of new intentions of how much the unlimited supply of love and creativity we all have. That's totally innate to all beings. So we can see that Saturn is at 9 degrees of Aquarius opposed to the sun and the moon. So this is a pretty serious the pun on serious, of course, because what the 8-8 is about is the sun rising with the beautiful, most powerful, largest star in the sky, Sirius. So speaking of Saturn, Sirius, there's always that pun, you know how spirit speaks in puns. So the 8-8 traditionally represented what's called the heliacal rising of Sirius with the sun, signifying the flooding of the Nile. So in ancient Egypt, Sirius was worshipped as Isis, the great mother of all, and it is the retelling of the myth of Isis and Osiris, so always connected to that myth. So this is a Sirius, Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn ruling Aquarius in traditional astrology, and I am using both rulers for the planets these days. So Saturn is karma, limitations, obstacles, testing. We're certainly being tested these days in all ways. In Aquarius, because it's an air sign, it is our minds that are being tested, our consciousness that is being tested for if it's coming from the purity of our hearts, because we tend in the West to think of the brain, the mind, Mercury as being consciousness, but really the true consciousness is what our heart knows. So doing EFT, tapping on your heart, will get you centered in your heart. So if you're feeling things are heavy, and they are these days, that is Saturn. You know, Saturn doing its once every 28, 29 year cycle in Aquarius here. Aquarius is about higher consciousness, but, you know, Saturn is restriction and limitation to that. And so we're really, the consciousness of the world is going through a test. So you have to listen to your heart. That's the only thing to listen to, not the news media, which is very bewildering. We're being, given all kinds of information everywhere to confuse us. You have to stay in your heart, okay? So I would say that that's one of the biggest message of this. Now, I'm just going to go through the major planets. You can see that Mars and Venus are still fairly close together in Virgo. So our actions, our desire, our fire, our initiation, everybody has an inner masculine and feminine is grounded. It's in Virgo, it's in our gut instincts as well. And Venus, they're a little bit far apart now from their conjunction back in Leo. Venus also in Virgo. So this is traditionally, Virgo is the sign of the virgin goddess mother. That is Ceres, Demeter, the parthenogenesis goddesses like Mary. This is very ancient knowledge that women could procreate on their own. And so Venus and Virgo, again, very much about gathering in the harvest. In the northern hemisphere here, we are definitely moving into harvest time. So gathering the harvest, what have we harvested all this time? What has our efforts, our work availed us of? So Virgo is about health. And of course, everybody's still worried about their health because of COVID and variants and all that. The best thing to do is eat natural foods, get out in nature, eat as organic and simply as you can, especially, again, whatever season you're in. If foods are fresh and abundant, you eat that. I'm missing my garden. I've been away from home now almost 10 days, missing my beautiful organic garden. So eating really healthy. This is still the Garden of Eden. And so paying attention to the details Mars and Virgo are very nitpicky, very organized. Finishing up in the tarot, Virgo relates to the sign of the Hermit, completion, completing the task, getting organized. All right, so that's Venus. Now, this chart, the Leo new moon is actually at 9:49 a.m. This is an Eastern Daylight Time set for Washington, D.C. I'm not going to pay very much attention to the ascendant here because that is local for that. Now, Jupiter is moved back into Aquarius, and so Jupiter is at 28 degrees Aquarius, opposite Mercury. So again, wherever Jupiter is connected to any planet, it expands our consciousness, it expands our luck, it expands optimism, it expands our trust, it expands our faith. So Jupiter in Aquarius and an air sign, again, very harmonious there with Mercury in Leo. So we want to take our consciousness again out of the norm, out of the box, thinking radically differently, thinking in ways we never could have imagined before. Like, what the hell is going on here? Also, what is the higher purpose of this? Jupiter in Aquarius is taking us out of the normal reality, out into the big picture. Think about being out in space, connected to the stars. Aquarius is connected to the stars. Aquarius is the sign that rules astrology. The goddess Urania is the ruler of astrology. Actually, the muse is that. And so Jupiter's retrograde, so we're still rethinking. Jupiter's going to be retrograde until late October this year. So we're reintegrating those new paradigms, those new places that we've gone to since Jupiter first entered Aquarius with Saturn, December 21st, 2020. Neptune is in Pisces, also retrograde, opposite Venus. So Venus is the human octave of love. Neptune is the higher octave of love. So we're trying to balance the human world with the spiritual world, with the ideal, with the projections, with the sense of knowledge that we are all one. Neptune in Pisces for a very long time, from 2011 into 2024, is taking us through a very deep spiritual journey. And so the popularity of spirituality, tarot readers, witches, astrology, all of the mystical arts, yoga, is all very Neptunian. Neptune in its own home sign. In Pisces, it is the end of a cycle, but it's also fake news and viruses and all that stuff. So people are still, of course, concerned with all that. But I would say this is a balance. Having these two opposite each other is a very nice balance. Let's see what else we got here. Uranus, the planet Uranus is squaring Saturn. Okay, so we're still in that Saturn-Uranus square. Uranus is actually creating what's called a T-square to the sun and the moon. So again, this is radical thinking, radical doing. Uranus and Taurus, I call it the cosmic cattle prod. Taurus is cows, bulls, the bull market. So Uranus rules Aquarius in modern astrology. It rules crypto, all of that stuff. So again, since Jupiter re-entered Aquarius, the cryptocurrency prices will go up again while Jupiter is still in Aquarius till the end of this year. And then it will probably go down again when Jupiter re-enters Pisces. But anyway, so radical thinking, again, radical doing, radical actions, radical embodiment. That's Uranus and Taurus, okay? Again, Saturn is retrograding away from Uranus, but they are still in a major square. That is the major aspect, actually, of 2021. Now, what else are we here? Pluto, of course, is at 25 degrees Capricorn. It is making an inconjunct or a quincunx to Mercury and Virgo. So again, Pluto and Capricorn is the plutocrats. This is the big power people. And so they want more power. That's Mercury and Leo. And Neptune and Pluto are in a sextile to each other. They're going to continue to be in that sextile, a positive 60-degree angle, supporting each other. And so Neptune and Pluto are creating what's called, again, a quincunx, a finger of God, both of them to Mercury. Okay, so this is where, the finger of God is pointing to us to think, to have our consciousness in our heart, to not be confused by these big power struggles going on, but to really know spiritually, intuitively, in our dreams, listening to our dreams, and integrating that, into our hearts, into our wills. Now, what else have we got here? The North Node is in Gemini, conjunct to the fixed star that represents the Archangel Michael. The south node at 8 degrees of Sagittarius is connected to the fixed star Antares, the rival of Mars, and Juno, one of my favorite asteroid goddesses, is also exactly conjunct the south node. Now, Juno represents the feminine form of genius. She is traditionally considered to be the goddess of marriage, but really her original meaning was the feminine form of genius, multitasking. And she is squaring Mars. So again, the action, we need to integrate in our gut instincts this multi-dimensional thinking and really being able to analyze all these different parts. Now, the other important thing I wanted to talk about is Vesta. Vesta is in Libra, also at 8 degrees. So you want to pay attention when the planet's degrees are showing up. There is this thing called degree theory that it's a new theory developed by a Serbian astrologer who sadly just passed away recently. But each degree from Aries to Pisces is 1 to 12, and then it repeats. Each degree 1 to 12, 11 to 24, and right to the end. So Vesta, the goddess of investments, we're investing ourselves in our relationships, in balance in Libra. She is sextiling the south node and Juno, and she is trining Saturn in Aquarius. Okay, now the other important thing I want to talk about is Ceres and Lilith are in an exact conjunction at 2 degrees, 21, 22 minutes. They're literally a minute apart in Gemini. And this is really important because this is the mother-whore split. Ceres represents the great mother, Mother Mary. Women is considered to be the pure, totally devoted to being mothers, and Ceres is the opposite side. So she represents the dark goddess, the very sexual, free, liberated, independent, you'd meet me as an equal or not, first woman. And so this is the split that still exists with women's sexuality and women's sexuality and that sort of unconditionally loving that, they're one or the other. So this is an opportunity for us to bring these two aspects together. Gemini is always the dialoguing between those two aspects. Again, they are squaring Mars. So again, there might be some issues in the news media, because Gemini rules the news, about misogyny. I just heard today, actually, there was a horrible story about some guy in Tokyo who stabbed 10 women because they were happy. Anger at women, that kind of split the masculine has in dividing women up. So we want to bring that to wholeness, actually. And Saturn is trining Ceres and Lilith there, a little bit of a wide trine, but it's still there. All right. So the energy... Okay, we haven't talked about Chiron. Sorry, Chiron, the wounded healer at 12 degrees of Aries, is trining the sun and the moon. So this is a big healing opportunity for us to go deep into our hearts, to heal the old wounds, the trauma. Chiron in Aries is the warrior. We've all been traumatized for thousands of years from war. War is not a natural state. War stems from patriarchy, from colonialism, and so we want to heal. All of us are healed from all of our generations, our ancestors, healing the heart, to be the heart warrior. The heart warrior does not war. He knows that love conquers all. And so again, Chiron is trining the south node and Juno, and something called the great attractor at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. So 14 degrees of Sag is this space anomaly where it bends space and time and it attracts everything to it. So in that case, whatever it is you focus on, this is how you really create your reality. All right? So very powerful Leo new moon, celebrating Sirius rising with the sun, the flooding of the Nile, the 888, the numbers 88 being the significant numbers of luck of all 8 directions in the zodiac. The Chinese uses that, the medicine wheel uses that, pagans use the number 8. If you turn number 8 on its side, it is the symbol of infinity. So what you want to do on this Leo new moon is make new intentions from your heart. Okay, because it is aligned with what's called the Lion's Gate, this star gate that's celebrated every year. It doesn't always coincide with the new moon. You really want to sit and do ceremony. Now, usually I would be doing a Leo new moon astrology magic workshop. I am at the Grail Springs Wellness Retreat this weekend, so I'm going to pre-record this. This is going to be the Leo new moon astrology magic workshop. So I've gone through the aspects of the Leo new moon. I usually have a PowerPoint presentation, I am going to talk some more about the hymn to Isis, because this is about Isis. She is the Great Mother. I am a priestess of Isis. I was initiated as a priestess of Isis in 2015 by my temple leader, Laema Kathleen Graham. Isis Temple Serpentarius. Serpentarius means the snake, of course. She's a snake priestess, and I've always loved snakes. So what you want to do on this Leo new moon is, I'm a bit of a stickler to doing it exactly where you are. So it's at 6:49 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. It's at 1:49 p.m. GMT. You want to try to be right on time, prepared ahead of time with all your ritual things that you would need to associate with Leo. Leo is gold. So you would wear gold, bring out your bling, put on your jewelry. If you have anything gold or gold colored, you could use gold colored stones. There's something called gold stone. There is citrine, that's for wealth. Any amber, any kind of gold colored, light colored, yellow topaz, whatever you have, a yellow stone. You would put that on your altar along with red, because red is the color of Leo, fire. Red things, gold things, so red and yellow for the sun. Sirius is the brightest, most beautiful star in the sky. So when you set up your altar, and for those of you who have been to my Leo new moon and full moon astrology magic workshops before, you would have all the attributes of Leo to bring in there. But don't worry about it. The ceremony does not have to be complicated. I am going to lead a new moon ceremony tonight here at the Grail Spring Spa by a fire. But I wanted to put this out so you had something. So what you would do is you set up your altar, you smudge, you get ready. Ideally, you should cleanse. You should have a shower or bath before. Set up your altar. You would call upon Sirius. You would call upon the sun. And you would call upon the moon. And to bring them all down, to set new intentions. You would look at your own astrology chart to see where, especially 16 degrees, Leo is affecting you in your own chart, and that house and the aspects that the sun and the moon are making to your natal chart are what you personally would take as what you need to work on. So this is the Leo new moon aspects for the whole world, but each person is affected by all of the planets differently. Okay, so you would call upon the powers of the heart of Leo, of royalty, your own sovereignty, to be sovereign in your own heart, to be sovereign in your own soul. Remember the puns of sun and soul. And you would call upon the powers of the moon as well. As she's in her dark, this is the most feminine phase of the moon. Traditionally, women would be in the red tent or the dark lodge, the moon lodge, their yurts, their caves, together, bleeding together on the new moon, releasing their sacred menstrual blood into the earth and dreaming. So remember a time, this is for women, when you would be doing that. This was done for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years. And remember those times of sitting in the safety of the dark. So I recommend that you sit in a dark room, you just light one little candle. You could anoint it with oils or any of those things, the incense, the spices, the foods that have to do with Leo. Anything red, of course, would have to do with Leo. And just remember the time you're going deep, deep, deep into your own womb and into your heart. And what you want to do is put your right hand on your heart, because the heart is the masculine, it's the pump, and your left hand on the womb. Now, if you have had a hysterectomy, that's okay. You still have a spirit womb. Men have a spirit womb as well, because everyone's body started as female, so you have a spirit womb. So you want to balance out the heart and the womb, and this creates this magnetic balance so that you can self-conceive anything. I mean, women's wombs are designed to bring in cosmic soul into their wombs, which are immaculate and can never be stained, tarnished, or anything. The trauma around the womb from any sexual problems, dysfunctions, or rape is on the around in the emotional body, in the karmic body, but not in the womb itself. The womb is absolutely pure. So when they say immaculate conception, that is literal. So you want to conceive of a new heart-womb balance. We need this so much now It is really important that we honor our organic, our hearts, our humanity. We want to be here on the earth plane. This is why all of our souls manifested here. The earth is a very special place. We want to honor the earth, the power of our emotions coming from the heart. Heart-centered. I just read something about the Cathars, a prophecy that's coming true now, that all the Cathars who were believers in Mary Magdalene and the powers of the womb and the heart, it was the chivalry, they were killed by the Catholic Church en masse in the 1200s, and they had a prophecy that they would come back, in the 1300s, that they would come back in 700 years and be reborn, and that is this year. So all of the teachings about Mary Magdalene that's out there, that she was, Jesus's wife, she was originally like the dark goddess, like Lilith, considered to be the whore. That's like what Lilith represents. Her teachings are returning now. Okay, the balance of the masculine and feminine again. So please call upon that balance of the masculine and feminine. That's always what the new moon is all about. Call upon the star Sirius. It is so beautiful. If you go out and look at the star Sirius, I love to watch her from my backyard in Toronto. I can see Sirius very clearly in the northeast at night. Watch Sirius. Tune into it. If you really meditate on the stars, you can have incredible meditations from them and receive from them. Also, Jupiter is very big and very beautiful in the skies right now. And you can see Saturn parallel to Jupiter. Again, if you look at the planets from a certain angle, usually a little bit out of the corner of your eyes, but the other night I had a total conversation with Jupiter. Jupiter actually manifested in the third dimension as a kind of hologram and spoke to me. So all of the stars are alive. You can commune with them. I'm getting this picture of the Lion King right now, and all of our ancestors are the stars. They're looking down on us. You want to commune with the stars. It's also the Perseids, meteor showers over the next few days during the Lion's Gate. The Lion's Gate actually goes for a number of days, 5 days before the actual rising of the sun with Sirius. Now, some people say it happens on the 15th this year, the 13th, 14th, 15th. So that's why this is called the Lion's Gateway. So tune into Sirius. Again, the Great Mother, Isis, she is the goddess of everything. She reconstructs her husband, Osiris, who's been dismembered, and puts him back together. So the Great Mother, tune into the Great Mother, Isis, and the Syrians are supposed to be the beings that seeded humans on the earth, just like the Pleiadians and all the other star systems. So tune into that. And just listen. All you have to do is listen. Call upon your holy guardian angels as well. Again, the Archangel Antares and the Archangel Michael, who holds the fiery sword of protection. You call upon those angels. At this time, Jupiter is close to the Archangel Gabriel as well, and Mercury is close to the Archangel Raphael. So they are all connected in those 4 major cardinal points at this time. And just listen. So I send you many blessings on this new moon. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm at taratarot.com. You can follow me on my blog at infinitynow.wordpress. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok sometimes. And I'm going to invite you to come to the really big blue moon, the next full moon, the blue moon, which is actually on August 22nd. But I'm going to do an astrology blue moon magic workshop on the day before, on August 21st at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. There's information about that on my blog at taratarot.com. So I'm inviting you to join me there. Again, many blessings on this Leo new moon.